Today's guest is Kelly, the owner of and creative force behind Little Shop of Flowers. We work together on so many beautiful weddings, and I've always admired her incredible talent and passion for floral design.
Wow, I love it. Thank you.
I'm so excited to have her here and share her journey and give us the behind-the-scenes look at the world of wedding florals. Thank you, Kelly, and welcome.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
It's wonderful to be here.
And we have known each other, I don't
forever.
even know.
I know.
Maybe like 18 years or something.
Probably at least. I mean, if not, I don't know. But it's been amazing. I think I got the cover of our first bridal magazine, I think, with you together.
Yes.
Remember? Do you remember that?
I do.
We were like so young.
I feel like you've always been so open to collaborate on projects when we work with different planners, and it's like the style shoots. I feel like we were like the pioneers of the style shoots.
Oh yeah, 100%. We started that.
We did.
Myrtle Beach,
and you
started
were
that.
always like, what do you need, what time, and I will be there. So thank you.
Yes, it's always fun. It's always fun to do any type of collaboration with you. Those were the days. Those are the easy days. I feel like,
I feel like that was a lifetime ago.
It was. It was.
Now in our trajectory, I feel like we've done so much. But anyway, it's always like thinking back, like with like a lot of fun memories. So Kelly, tell us a little bit about yourself and the Little Shop of Flowers.
Well, I mean, we are definitely a wedding specialty shop. We love doing weddings. I feel like we could probably book up every weekend, but we also do the everyday floral work. We're open for birthdays, anniversaries, funeral work, just the everyday. I'm gonna get my wife flowers. I'm gonna get my best friend flowers. So, we're open every day to the public, but on the weekends, we definitely dedicate that to wedding work. Mm-hmm. And no, we love it.
That's awesome. And how did you get started?
It's so crazy. It sort of was an accident. I always was extremely interested in anything art growing up. I feel like definitely my parents, though, wanted me to go to trade school and do something. They're like, oh, an artist, you're going to starve. I kind of looked at like architecture, landscape architecture. And through that, during the summers, I got a lot of different internships. I feel like that back then was the way to go. I ended up getting paired up with someone the company was called FET. And at the time, they had a small television show. It was based out of New York, where I'm from, and California. So they would kind of like transform rooms. They would do set design for theater. And so I kind of got thrown into that. And a few of the projects I worked in, they started throwing floral at me. Like, we're gonna redesign this room. We're gonna bring a lot of aspects in. And I just remember starting on these projects being like, gosh, I love this. I love this. And then it got to the point where I didn't want to be stuck behind a desk. I wanted to be creating. So it was sort of like a transition and a shift to where, maybe I don't want to do this. Maybe I do want to get into the whole floral aspect and change positions and learn about this. And you know what I mean? So that took going to California, going to San Francisco, going to the floral markets, learning where the flowers come from and how they're shipped and how they're sold and, how they're expedited from different countries and then married into one place and then redistributed. I kind of just started from the bottom.
So I'm Colombian, and a lot of flowers, roses especially, are produced and shipped here. Yeah. So I do have such a special appreciation for flowers. Yeah. We have a whole flower festival in Medellin.
Oh, yeah.
Where they get this like round circle, sort of like people carry them on their backs.
Oh, yeah.
And they design the most amazing,
intricate.
Colorful, intricate.
It's just different countries and different cultures have just the most beautiful displays. Amazing. And the roses that we can get out of Colombia, not even just the roses, but I mean, so many things, because their days are longer and weather is better, and they can just produce so much beautiful, especially the roses, the garden roses. I mean, they're even every year, they're coming up with new colors, they're coming up with new varieties. It's just amazing if you ever get on YouTube or anywhere to like just search it and to watch everything come into fruition. It's amazing.
Walk us through what goes into designing wedding flowers from consultation to wedding day.
Well, it all depends. There are times where I meet extensively with the bride and groom. There are times that a planner books me and I don't even meet them the day of the wedding. So it all kind of depends. It's like a lot of times social media, I feel like it's its own kind of market. I feel like they can go to my Instagram, see the work I do and be like, this is what I want. They meet with a planner in Myrtle Beach. We have so much destination.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, half of my weddings, I never meet face to face with the bride and groom until the wedding day.
You basically have a spectrum between a bride who's very much detailed and specifically more flowers or colors.
Right.
Or like depends on what's in season too, right?
I love to say seasonality comes into play, and it does. There's nothing I can't get at any time of the year. It all just depends on what you want to pay. I get everything from the farms because it's grown to last. It's grown to absorb a lot of water. It's grown to withstand weather. A lot of times locally when you're sourcing flowers, which is a great everyday thing, I love to give support to local business here. Fall, sunflowers. We don't have a lot in Myrtle Beach that, sometimes greenery locally, but a lot in the South, there's not a lot I can source locally that I feel like I could trust to withhold all of the elements.
My husband loves flowers,
yes.
and our backyard looks amazing. Like he really... Like people come to our house and they're like, Paula, you've done such a great job with the baskets and, all the flowers in the back. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I know the hydrangeas are there.
Sure.
I'm not like a flower person, but they don't last long.
They don't. The hydrangeas that you have in your house, you could cut them and you could bring them inside and it's temperamental. The hydrangeas that I'm going to use for your wedding, they are grown specifically to withstand elements. They are cut and packaged and shipped and treated to where the longevity on them is going to be 3 or 4 times as long as if, you would just get them locally. I'd rather pay more from a grower or a supplier that I can trust, that I know is going to sell me something that is fresh and that is going to last.
I'll tell you, we just celebrated our 20-year anniversary in business.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And you were a big part of that. I got flowers from Kelly and it was like a week. I was like, these things, are they real? Like they were so beautiful. First and foremost, the colors that you put together with my budget, like you made it amazing, but they just lasted forever. I took one for my mom, I kept one here, I gave the girls some more. So I was just like, man, these are like stunning.
Yes.
Like they lasted beautifully.
Yeah, and we love to hear that. I always tell people, they always ask, how long are these going to last? It's Mother Nature. I can never guarantee the longevity of the flowers. They're always a product of their environment. Whether they're in an AC room, whether they're in a room that's 100 degrees, whether sometimes if you put them next to fruit, depending on the flowers, fruit gives off a gas. We give off gas. It all depends. There are so many aspects to an arrangement lasting that people don't even think about. At the end of the day, it's like flowers aren't supposed to last.
Right.
We want them to, especially if it's an anniversary or if it's a gift. We do everything we can at the shop, from making sure our buckets are extremely clean and keeping them in a temperature controlled room, separating each thing to where, we know if we put something with one other thing, doesn't like it, different flowers give off different things. So we try really hard to maintain an extremely clean shop.
What are some of the biggest floral trends that you're seeing right now?
I think what I've been seeing lately are the rattan baskets and the Nantucket feel of, just kind of beachy but elevated, especially in Myrtle Beach. I just feel like everyone's loving the rattan baskets and they want to add things like pampas grass and dried floral, and they want to mix it with the fresh, and they want texture. And, I feel like for a while there, everyone was blush and pink, blush and pink, blush and pink. But now I feel like people are trying to do a little bit more aspects of the deeper colors, richer blues, richer purples. Not so much ombre anymore, but sectionality of clusters of color throughout the wedding. And they're changing it up a little bit. Some are wanting to do a little bit more neutral for ceremony and bolder for reception. Yeah. That's the first time I feel like the last couple of years where I've seen people really want to change it up between ceremony and reception. They're wanting different looks. So they're wanting that appeal of a little bit of more of a surprise element or a surprise factor in that.
The latest wedding that we did, I loved how minimal, but bright these flowers were. The yellow ones that are kind of like a little...
Called parrot tulips. So literally the mouth had a little beak.
The stalk of them were so thick and so beautifully green, and then the top was just this pretty yellow. We love yellow. The girls are wearing yellow today. The simplicity of those flowers, but yet I feel the elegance that it gives off. I love a big cascading bouquet, but also the petite, put together, the more symmetry is also so pretty.
Right. And I think minimalist right now too is also becoming a trend. I think some people just don't want to take away from anything else. They still want the floral aspect, but doing shades of like white, maybe a touch of yellow, a lot of greenery. A lot of greenery is never going to go out of style for your classic wedding. The simplicity of just like a tulip bouquet. Yeah. I love that, like that. Or just something that you would maybe never use. Like a simple, just a few roses or just a few little things tied with some beautiful ribbon. It's like you don't always have to do so much.
Sometimes some of these bouquets, I feel like, I don't know how you can educate me on this, but like when you build a bouquet for a bride, do you also look at like her size? Because we have seen some bouquets, I mean, from different florists.
Oh, yeah.
They make them so big. Yeah. It's almost overtaking the picture for me as a photographer.
I feel like that a lot has to do with the bride. A lot of times they request, I want a big, beautiful bouquet. I want it to have 7 or 8 different types of flowers. And you have to understand from like art standpoint, when we do 7 or 8 different types, we have to do like a minimum of like 3 or 4 of each of those. So at the end of the day, that's a lot of stems. Listen, this is how many stems you're getting. They say, well, it's just mostly for pictures. Mm-hmm. They want that element of their big, beautiful bouquet. And then a lot of times, yes, we do like to look at also the dress. A lot of times I'm always like, have you found your dress yet? Can I see a picture? When they meet with us, sometimes the dress isn't chosen yet. Yeah. Sometimes they're still deciding. Sometimes that element kind of, is not always provided for us. We do love to see, even the bridesmaids' dresses, we love to see because we can always say, hey, listen.
Well, because they're going to complement each other.
Exactly. Matching is not always the way to go. Do not have the flowers match. Let the flowers bring out the color in the bridesmaid's dress. They got a light blue dress. We want light blue flowers. But you don't. No. You want the bouquet to stand out just a little bit. You want there to be some sort of texturally different element. You want maybe go a shade darker on the bouquet, and that's okay. Maybe go a shade lighter, and that's okay. Flowers have this beautiful way of picking up different light, of picking up different shades. It's Mother Nature. Like a dark blue delphinium, you're still going to see some speckles of light blue in that bouquet or in that arrangement. And against a light blue dress, sometimes I think that's where the flowers shine. However, a lot of people want to match, and I can't always argue with that. Sometimes it's about what they want and trying to give the customer what they want.
So true. Honestly, at the end of the day, they want what they want.
Yes.
And for as much as we're experts and we try to, I wouldn't say steer them, but like maybe
suggest.
Give them our experience. Like, hey, might be better, but at the end of the day, if you push then your own opinion too much on a client, then they're going to be like, well, they're not doing what I want. And even if it was prettier or better, I mean, it happens to us in photography all the time. We're like, hey, let's talk about doing a first look. You have a big bridal party. You have, you don't want to take a lot of time.
You don't want to miss your cocktail hour.
Right. But then they're like, no, we're not doing it. And we have to be like, okay, we'll work with it. So.
And there's nothing you can do. We're dealing with people that a wedding is something that sometimes a little girl, I know I have a little girl and she's already planned her wedding. Or like sometimes it's an image that has worked its way up from years and years and years, and they have this ideal in their head where their mind is made up. Nothing is a perfect world.
Right.
So it's like when they're making their choices, sometimes the flexibility makes us be able to shine so much more than being so set in stone. But you gotta run with it. Sometimes you just get people that, you're right, this is what I want, this is what I've been dreaming about, this is all, and we have to make it work. Whether it's an all purple wedding or an all purple bouquet, and you're like, this is not exactly what I want to do, but let's do the best we can.
Don't tag me on those photos.
Yes, let's not talk about pictures afterwards.
You don't have to send me that gallery. I'm good. What is one thing that couples don't realize about wedding flowers until they're planning their wedding?
I think sometimes expense. I think definitely expense. Sometimes flowers aren't the most important thing. I know when I got married, even being a florist at the time, flowers were not the most important thing at my wedding. Like, I'll be honest with you. Of course, I always want them to be, because I think the element, flowers just die. People just eat the cake. Flowers die, but you have this amazing photographer that is going to take pictures of these flowers, and they will last you forever, your whole life. So that's what I tell people. Of course they're going to die, but you're going to have pictures that will live on forever.
Right.
I think sometimes people don't always expect to understand the price element of things. People say, well, I'll just use greenery, or I'll just use baby's breath. But what they also don't understand is, to do a baby's breath bouquet, I have to buy bunches and bunches and bunches of baby's breath. And at the end of the day, it's cheaper just to get a variety of flowers that are, hydrangea, roses, just the normal stuff. Because me getting all of this baby's breath to make one bouquet, it's just twice as much. If you come to me and say, this is my budget, this is the colors I like, what can I get? A lot of times people get hung up on, I'm going to pick something really inexpensive, like baby's breath, where at the end of the day, it's going to cost you twice as much. If they're surprised by that bottom line when I first send them that price, the first thing I tell my brides too, if you're surprised by that or it's overwhelming, let me know where you feel comfortable, and then I can tell you what you can get for this price.
I mean, you did that with me for my party. I was like, can we work with this number? And honestly, I don't know what would have been the first price. Like, I was like, it was exactly what I needed. I'm not picky about, I love flowers.
Yes.
But I know that you are working sometimes with people that are like so they're looking at the most small detail on the bouquet. I mean, I hear it because we're taking photos. And sometimes the mom is like, it doesn't have to, or it has to, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel for you, or like whoever florist does, right. Because some people are very detailed about it.
Very detailed. It's Mother Nature. They could want this flower and in this shade of color and this shade of pink, but what we're dealing with, we could order that flower in that shade of pink. But there are times where it might be a little darker, it might be a little lighter, that is just how it's going to be. This is what people don't realize. They're looking at a picture on Pinterest of this beautiful bouquet of orchids. That bouquet of orchids has been photoshopped 4 times.
Yes, I was going to say that. The presets, the color.
I tell them, this does not exist. Not in real life. So guess what? It has been photoshopped. It has been lightened. This shade of orchid is darker. But the way the photographer has lightened this photograph that you love, that you want me to mimic, it's not going to happen. At the end of the day, sometimes it's like, show this to your photographer. They could probably lighten it up. I know I was working with a photographer a few weeks ago. And this is what she wanted. This is what is real life. And she looked at it and she's like, yes, it's just so lightened. The whole picture is so lightened.
That's actually one of the things that we have always, since day one as a photographer, I wanted to keep my photos looking like what they are on the wedding day.
100%. I mean, and you do.
Yeah, and obviously we want to fix them, make sure they're color corrected.
Of course.
There's a basic edit that we do, but we are not changing people's like skin tones. And like the flowers, if it's pink, we don't want it to look like coral or something.
But like we do have those shady days or those dreary days where it's like you do light it up, and I mean sometimes that's just what happens, and sometimes they get stuck on this picture or this color, and I'm thinking, for me to try to make that exact, sometimes I do have to charge more because that is time trying to, get the different colors, or talking to the wholesalers, sending pictures to my wholesalers, trying to color match, trying to do stuff where, like I said, sometimes matching is not always the best look. For instance, I'm sure when you get a family and they want to wear all the same outfit. And it's just like, you're trying too hard. You're doing too much. Do something a little different.
I usually tell them be within the same family of colors, but not exactly match. It's going to give us a little bit of like definition, depth, and like, just something different, some contrast in the 100%. But we get the white and khaki, and I mean, that's just what they want. And,
that's all you can do. The beach probably shoot, and that is what you have to work with. And what can you do?
I'd rather people not be stressed. As a photographer, I get it a lot. People are so stressed out about their outfits that they're like, but we haven't found, and I'm like, you just shop in your closet. Like, don't go out to Dillard's and spend $400 on this outfits. Like, it's just for photo. I mean,
don't go to Old Navy, the same color jeans and the same white t-shirt.
Jeans,
go to JCPenney's for that.
If you have a memory from a favorite wedding that you've designed that sticks up in your mind.
I was doing a wedding and the bride had wanted to surprise her mom. Not only did she use her dress, but we mimicked the exact bouquet that her mom had used. Very old style of bouquet. It had the old cymbidium orchids that you would see in Easter time. And, it had a few daisies in it. And to be honest, walking into that wedding, it really wasn't something that I loved. It's hard for me I will take what I have to work with and I will just do my best and I will try to mimic what they want 120%. I did not realize the effect of what I was making. I remember that day I was a little bit sad. It's not a bouquet that I was super in love with.
I got it.
It was definitely beautiful. I was definitely proud of it. What she wanted to do was give something to her mother that was such an amazing memory, that when her mother saw the bouquet and she saw her in her dress, it was so emotional and so touching that we could try to mimic what her mother did. Not just the bouquet, but the wearables and the centerpieces and what they did on the cake.
Wow.
And then the picture down into the limousine that was trying to be the exact same picture with, you know what I'm trying to say, with the corsages old
That's
school.
so
And
sweet.
it was something that it was out of pocket for me. And it wasn't something that I really wanted to do. When we did it and we dropped it off, the emotional aspect of how much that meant to not only the bride, but the mother and the family. And even when the dad saw it, they were so emotionally touched. It made me cry. I left that wedding feeling, it was a nostalgic thing. They were so kind and so thankful that we were able to just maybe not do exactly what they want, maybe not do exactly what I was comfortable with, but we were able to mimic something that was significant.
It's that representation 100%. Of like, and I don't even know the backstory between the relationship with the mom and the bride, but it's so sweet to recreate a moment that was really special to someone. Sometimes we do things and we don't think it's going to have a big effect, and then when we see their emotion, we're like,
oh, this is right. We did the right thing, you know?
Yeah. Reluctantly.
Well, and I remember driving to that wedding set it being like, you second guess yourself. You're like, this is what the picture looks. I'm giving them what they want. The look on the faces of the bride and the mother when she saw, like, you know, and then they had posted pictures of the side by side, and it was just I could understand. I don't think I fully understood that.
You got it.
Yeah, but it was like I understood at the end, because I don't always get to work so much with the bride and groom like photographers do, or like planners do. And like people that do the dress, I feel like there's multiple meetings. I don't always get that. Sometimes I get one. Sometimes I don't get any. Sometimes I just get email, which is fine. But you know, it's so nice to connect that way at the end of the day and to know how happy they are.
It's like really rewarding to see their reaction, kind of the impact that your work has on them on like such an amazing special day. I think that for us, we really feel that reward a lot. Or, you know, when we deliver a bridal print, or when they finally see the photos, I mean, and we get those emails, and it's just so nice to be like, oh, I'm so glad that they were thankful, because we work so hard.
Yes, we do.
So
I know at the end of the day, when we're done, we're dead to the world. And I know when you guys come home, and you guys are there all night, we're just there during the day. Weddings are a luxury. They're definitely a luxury event. A lot of times people show up and it's just done. The pictures are there and it's just done. They don't realize the blood, sweat, and tears sometimes that goes into every single wedding.
And how emotionally involved we get into these things, because we are perfectionists and
you have to be in this industry. You have to care.
Passionate. For you, probably you're worried about if the flowers are gonna get here on time. If the you
babysit something all week, like down to pulling the containers, down to making sure the greenery comes in good, down to like how they come in, how are they going to open. You don't want them to open too much. Let's keep them cold. Let's bring them out. Let's open them. Let's not. Let's touch them. Did we touch them? Like
my husband is a little floral designer.
I love it.
And he's the same way. He gets a pot or something, and he's like, it's not doing good here. Let me move it here 2 centimeters. And it's doing better there. Like, and he's just experimenting.
Because of the light. Like, does it want afternoon light? Does it want the morning light? Is it getting too much light? Is it getting too much water? It never ends.
Have you ever had a wedding day challenge, and how did you handle it?
Yes, so many.
Every weekend?
There was a planner that I'd never worked with before. She was out of town. I didn't know her from anyone. It was a very big wedding, and she kind of didn't show up. She didn't show up on the wedding day. About an hour before the wedding was supposed to start, everything kind of came down to me and the venue. We didn't know what linens went on what tables, but we knew centerpieces had to go down. We knew what time the photographer was getting there. We knew what time the ceremony started, and time is definitely an element. I like to be finished with most everything before the photographer even gets there. Well, you guys can do your detail shots. That way you can get those shots of the dining room before anyone has touched it, before people throw their bags down on the chair, before people start putting their personal belongings.
People go there and they claim a whole.
Oh, I know.
Yo, what
no, we gotta wait. And it's like, I try to have everything done so you guys, I know you guys have limited time, especially if there's not a first look. So I try to take that into consideration and, make sure you have your detail flowers and make sure that everyone, the flowers are there for the cake, so that when the cake gets there, she can or he can just put it on. Didn't know the dynamic or what happened with the situation, but you have to just roll with it. I had my staff try just to open up linens, and the venue tried to just open up linens. We tried to figure it out. At the end of the day, we had to get this done. Did we wait? We're not waiting, because if we waited, it would be over.
Yeah, it's a marathon.
It really is.
A marathon.
And we didn't have anyone there to guide us to say, okay, the arch is supposed to be here. Unfortunately, there were elements of weather, so things had changed. So we were just saying, this is the best place for it. We had to make these quick decisions. And sometimes that's what was the most, I think, challenging, is when we sometimes have to rely on help from our vendors. And that's why it's like, I've learned over the years to only kind of want to work with my trusted vendors that I know are going to be there, that are going to communicate, that are going to be there on time. I feel like in order for us to execute that wedding, sometimes it's so important to have really good, clear communication with people that you're used to working with. And not that we don't like to work with people that we haven't worked with before, but I feel like the element of communication when that happens is just so important.
And it's such a collaboration, because I have to make sure the makeup is done at that time.
Right.
So then I can go ahead and do some getting ready. And then I need your flowers so I can do the lay flat.
Yes.
And then I need the table to be ready and the candles to be lit so I can do details. So it's like you're working in the makeup plan and the planner and this. And so it's like a multi-layer collaboration of our professional. And then we also have the timeline, and we have the weather and the emotions of the bride.
That is something the bride and groom will never ever think about, nor do we want them to.
No.
The timeline, and I see, okay, it's going to be this planner. Yes, it's going to be this photographer. Perfect. This person's doing the cake. Know them. When I know everyone and I can talk to everyone, where can I do your detail flowers? Where can I put the cake flowers? When I can just do that and message them and everything kind of comes together, that's when I know my day is going to be easy. The hardest times is when that communication isn't there.
As photographers, we actually do travel. On those weddings, I try to be like an over-communicative.
Yes.
Like, hey, I'm coming in at this time. Hey, is this the right room number, or is this the right, location or whatever? We work with a planner. She's from out of town, but we were doing the makeup side of things. And she gave us the wrong hotel. She gave us the wrong room number. Get to the hotel, our team does, and we're like, okay, this is not the right. We went to someone else's room. I start calling the planner. Her phone's off.
No, why?
God, our team was there with plenty of time to spare.
Right.
You gotta get there early.
Yeah.
We're calling the bride. She's not answering. It's her wedding day.
Yeah.
But eventually, I literally was like calling the planner, and then she's like, "Oh, sorry, my phone is off." I'm like, okay, you gave us the wrong number, and why is your phone off on a wedding day?
I don't, like, to me, you never know what can happen.
Right.
I mean, whether it's wedding communication or weather communication or anything like that, changes happen. We never know what could happen.
What advice would you give couples when choosing their wedding florist?
The best advice I could give them, especially if there's any type of budget involved, which this day and age, there's not a lot of people that aren't budget conscious. Be open. You love peonies. I love peonies. Peonies are expensive. We all love peonies. Guess what? I can make a flower look like a peony that is not a peony. You love peonies, but you don't want to spend $400 on a bouquet? Tell me. Like, don't just go into something with a set mind. The floral world is always changing. There are so many amazing mad scientists that are combining roses and lilies and different types of garden roses to make these beautiful, or Japanese ranunculus. There's always an alternative to a peony, that lush, beautiful look that it's not going to cost you the same amount of money. I was talking to a bride yesterday. She's like, I love peonies. I need to have them. Maybe in your bouquet, but they're out of season, so I can get them. I can get them from Chile. Let's get a bunch of peonies for your bouquet from Chile. Let's use garden roses on the rest. They open just as beautiful. They smell just as beautiful. And I promise you, there's going to be no one at that wedding, unless they've been a florist for 25 years, are going to look at that arrangement and know what that is. I always say, have an open mind. If you like the look of something and you have a budget, let the professionals be the professional. I can make a bouquet look like, what they want for a fraction of the price if they can be open. I love it when people ask me questions about color or about, it's going to be hot, it's going to be summer, what's going to hold up, I'm worried. I love the communication aspect. I wish more couples would trust us a little bit more. I can make that bouquet look like that for half the price. I promise you'd never know the difference.
I think definitely couples trusting our expertise. Yeah. And obviously they're coming to us because they have seen.
They see what we do. They like what they see,
Sometimes they have a budget and sometimes I'm like, look, let's put your hours in what's the most important part of the day. Yeah, it's good when people actually do have an open mind and they're wanting to.
Flexible.
Listen. Yeah.
When they're flexible, that's just the best.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone wanting to become a floral designer, what would it be?
Go with your gut. If it feels off, or if the client that you're working with, if something doesn't feel right, it's not. If you're working with someone and they're asking you to do something that you're not comfortable doing, don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Concentrate on you. Do it from the heart. Don't put out anything that you're not proud of. There are definitely times where people want us to put out things that we maybe don't like or flowers that we don't love. But at the end of the day, you still have to be happy with that. There's been times where I've called the bride the night before and said, listen, I'm going to tell you I really don't like the way this is opening up. I do have something that's extremely similar, and I feel in my heart you're going to be more happy with it. And you know how many times they've said, you know what? You do it. You just make it look beautiful. Especially when I was first starting out, I was so scared to call a bride and say, listen, this shade of purple is just so dark, or this shade of lavender is too light. There are so many times where I've just been so scared to reach out and say, I can't get this exact thing because it's Mother Nature. Open communication is definitely key when you're first starting out, or if you're doing something and it feels wrong, don't do it. Stop. Reevaluate, and don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Focus on what you want to do and how you feel like you can make your client happy. And I get calls from people that are saying, hey, how did you make this standard rose look like a garden rose? I don't like to gatekeep at all. Well, because when I was first starting, I remember looking at things being like, gosh, how did they do that? How did they do that? And I feel like I'm so blessed in this area. I am so close to some of the other floral designers here.
And you have to really have that community, because there will be times when, something happens and they will be your aid for help.
100%. Always like, do you have this? And I'm like, yes. Can you get this? Yes. There are people add on stuff last minute and you need stuff. Never be afraid to ask for help. And please always go with that gut instinct. If you're doing a proposal and you're like, this is their budget, but you're going to lose money, don't do it. Do not lose money. That is the problem. It doesn't matter if you book the wedding or not. If you're not making money, if you're not producing, then you shouldn't be doing that. That's not for you. That's not your client. There will be another client. There will be a client for you. Just remember to, it's an integrity thing, and to, you are running a business.
Sometimes some of those people that ask for discounts, they're actually the most needy clients.
100%.
And I've had this in the past. People are like, oh my gosh, we want to work with you and we love your work. This is where we are at. And, and if it's something that I can work with, I know they appreciate my work. Yeah. But sometimes we have people that are like, that's so expensive. Like, can you just give me a discount? And I'm like, no, because I know you're not going to even appreciate it.
You get to the wedding and they've gone all out and everything else. You have to remember you are running a business. So if you don't profit on what you do, it's for nothing.
It's for stress. Because it's not even for nothing. Because actually you're running in the background with all the stress. And then what is the benefit? Because it's when they don't even appreciate the work. It's even worse. In the beginning when I started, I was giving people big discounts, and I don't anymore.
Life is short. And I'd rather take off the weekend. Taking a weekend off every once in a while is just so important. Sometimes you don't get that client for a reason. Number one, you're not going to make money from that client. If they're wanting a discount, they are going to run you and expect so much more. And two, if you don't get that client and you have that weekend off, you have that time to reflect on maybe what you could do better, what you could learn from someone else. Take a webinar class, learn, about something you've never worked with before. There are so many aspects. You don't need to book every wedding. They're not all for you.
I love that advice. When people think about Little Shop of Flowers years from now, what do you hope they remember most about you and your work?
No matter how big we get, I want to be the Little Shop of Flowers. That neighborhood place where my customers come in my door, and whether they're purchasing anything or not, I just get to see their face. People that live in the neighborhood that I've done their weddings, I've done their grandparents' funerals, I've done birthdays, I've done baby showers. You know, we have clients that we've started with the wedding, and then, you know, you do the baby showers, and then you do the birthdays, and then the anniversaries, and then I feel like we have these customers that we've seen grow from, you know, being almost children to getting married. You know, I love doing weddings. I love, but I also love doing someone's baby shower, and then all of a sudden I'm doing their prom flowers, and it's touching. I love the aspect of like the community of, you know, where we are and being in Market Common.
Your little shop is so cute. You like walk by it and it's like full out. And like every month, every season, there's a new different, and it's like a photo op.
We actually, even around Christmas time, we had Hallmark contact us. They were doing a movie and they wanted to use the shop as just a set. And I said, well, you can only do it on a Sunday because that's the only day we're not open. It's a Hallmark inspired movie. At the time of filming, they weren't 100% whether they were going to use it or not. It was Christmas time, and you know, we decorated everything for Christmas. It was like a love story.
How the heck did they find out?
We're just on the street doing a filming, and then they saw my shop, and they're like, can we use this as our meet cute? We want to use this. Just using like the front of the shop and the door. Yeah. It wasn't a big deal, but for me, it's just like, oh, to be recognized like that. I love seeing people come back. I love seeing faces return. I'm not always there, but someone is always there. So it's just like, I love seeing people in and out.
Well, you and I have the same space. So, you know, we have to work with like
what we have.
Small spaces. But I think having a small space, you can make it so cute.
What I brought today is kind of something that I feel like people walk into my shop and get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. It's just a wrap bouquet. We take specialty paper, which we try to pick out stuff that's neutral, trends that are going around, things, you know, sometimes adding a little bit of high-end paper and a little bit of high-end ribbon, you know, it elevates the bouquet. You're not spending a fortune. You know, this is something, you know, $50 and under that we always try to have ready.
Oh, so you have these ready, so people can
Always. We always have 4 or 5 of them just ready to go. A nice summer mix here. Typically, you know, we've got the summer, we've got the scabiosa, we've got the sunflowers, we've got, you know, the willow eucalyptus. Always love the standard rose. It's not always, you know, someone's most favorite, but I mean, I feel like the element of color on there, it's marbled, it's a little shocking. The eucalyptus, it smells fresh. A lot of times too, they're so easy to pick up, and you can unwrap it and design it, or it's all tied off so you can just set it in a vase and enjoy it. Love it when I see a man walk into my shop and pick one of these up. As you know, when he walks down the street, it's gonna make every other guy come into my shop. I see a guy that's like, listen, I was just in the car with my wife, and she saw a man walk into your shop and buy one of these. I need the same thing because she's talking about it. Oh, I bet she's gonna have a nice evening. I gotta do the same thing. And it's true, you've got to do it. Like sometimes it's just a little sentiment.
For no reason.
For no reason.
No anniversary, no occasion. No birthday needed.
That is what you need. Don't always buy flowers when you need them. Buy them when you don't. That's when it means the most. These are always available. These are always ready. We love a hand tie.
There's so much technique to these ribbons, but I love flowers, and I love how they used to do it more on like that brown paper, right?
A lot of people love like traditional brown paper. I love brown paper, but sometimes it's just like, this elevates it a little bit.
The little Chanel paper.
Yeah, the little Chanel, the little Dior, the little whatever, the Louis Vuitton. Girls love it. It's girly. You need to be reminded, you know what? We are business owners. We're working. We're doing this. We're doing that. Remind us that we're a woman first. Women need to always be reminded that they're special, that they're important. And this is an inexpensive way to just bring something home. In the summer, we try to do more summer flowers. Christmas, of course, we try to keep it Christmassy because we know you're going to put these on your table. We know this is going to go on a shelf in your house. And if it's fall, we're going to want to make it fall. If it's Christmas, we're going to want to make it Christmas. If it's Valentine's Day, we're going to do the reds and the pinks and the purples.
Yeah. And you're so talented. And you have been evolving like season after season. I mean, I've known you for so long.
I know. Well, I feel like we're constantly learning. And if we're not constantly learning, that's when we die. Every Friday the 13th and every week of Halloween, we have a Pennywise costume and we put someone in it. Granted, we have to charge a lot. It's a liability. They just put a full Pennywise costume on and they deliver one red balloon. It's terrifying.
No, I hired her and her team and whoever came acted just like Pennywise, but then they were delivering donuts. And I got all the kids in the neighborhood, hey, I want to bring Pennywise to my house. Can you send your kids over and I'll give them donuts? This guy showed up with the balloon and the donuts, and it freaked out all the kids. But like the way he walked and everything, and you know, but anyway, I'll never forget the kids' faces, freaked out, but also like it was fun for them.
Right.
Yeah. And I love you, and thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me. It's been so great. Love you.